So I had an idea where I can generate articles with ChatGPT and publish them to a static site generator like Hugo using GitLab API. Before we get started, let me give you a brief overview of my web app project. A lot of people use static site generators to create their blogs, and usually it is version controlled by Git, and deployments are from Git as well. Many bloggers also probably using ChatGPT to assist them in generating articles or write content. Typically, after generating the content with ChatGPT, they need to copy and paste it to a markdown file, then upload it to their blog through a headless CMS or commit it directly to Git. The idea of this project is to streamline this process and do everything in one place. Let's take a look at how this project works. This project is built with Python Flask, where it uses OpenAI API to get assistance with writing articles. Then once the user is satisfied with their articles, then it would get committed to GitLab using GitLab API, which then should trigger your hosting service to build your blog again. First, I need to set up a blog using a static site generator. I picked Hugo and used the Clarity theme to build my blog, then used Netlify as the hosting service. Now that the blog is up and running, let's dive into the actual project. Okay, let's talk about the front-end development first. I've created an interface using the Ginger 2 template engine, which is a way for Flask to separate the front-end and back-end logic. The front-end interface allows me to enter API keys, chat using ChatGPT, save the article to a file by specifying my file path on GitLab, and lastly, commit my article by clicking on a button. There are two HTTP post requests associated with two buttons, both made by straightforward AJAX calls. The send button will make a post request to the backend to interact with ChatGPT by passing the chat history and the ChatGPT API key. The commit button will make a post request to interact with GitLab API by passing the chat history, file name, project namespace, and GitLab API key. Lastly, the chat history is stored in local storage for simplicity. Next, let's talk about the Flask backend. It has two endpoints, a chat endpoint and a commit endpoint. In the chat endpoint, I can input prompts in the chat interface, and the backend will send requests to the OpenAI API with the provided prompts and API key. The generated content or response is then returned to the frontend to be displayed in the chat window, and it is also stored in local storage. The commit endpoint allows me to commit the last response from ChatGPT to a GitLab repository. Currently, the commit endpoint only creates new files. Now, let me give you a demo. I already entered my API keys and the project namespace from GitLab. Now I'm going to send this message to ChatGPT to generate an article about Python. This will take about a minute, so I will skip ahead to the results. As you can see, it responded back the article. Now I can type in the file name and click commit to copy the article to Git. Once I refresh, a new file, intro to python.md, is in the repository. This also triggers the Netlify to rebuild the blog. Once it is finished, I can refresh the blog and see my latest article. In conclusion, this was a fun, quick project that I was able to Frankenstein together. I will probably implement some sort of login so that I can store my chat history in the database. Let me know if you guys have any features or ideas that I can add on to this project. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and sub. See you next time.